that's it. We just want to win for our team.
My goodness!
Yeah, we're just as good as the men, or better.
It's a huge point for the Bay Area.
Good chance that's the number one highlight of the week.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is week number 8, day number 2, second session of Major League Table Tennis. MLTT is coming to you live from Davie, Florida, right here in Broward Table Tennis Club. And we've got the top 2 teams in action battling here today. So first, let's call out our officials. Our umpire for the matches will be June Amon, and guest umpire, international umpire, 2-time wheelchair world champion, 3-time Paralympic medalist, Terez Terranova. And now the first team to battle, the number 1 team in the league. They've been rushing out in front of the rest, but it'll be a battle here tonight. Put your hands together for Carolina Gold Rush! And their opponents, they are no strangers on the streets here. From the best swamps that Florida has to offer. Get those chompers ready and make some noise for your very own Florida Crocs! And now the commissioner of MLTT to welcome a very special guest. Here is Flint Lane.
Very quickly, we've had a wonderful weekend so far. We're really excited about the action, and we couldn't be more grateful to the Broward Table Tennis Club and their president, Carlos Zeller, for welcoming us. So on behalf of MLTT, our coaches, our fans, our players, Carlos, we've got you. Thank you. At this time, Carlos has a few things to say, so let me pass the mic to Carlos.
First of all, welcome to everybody. It's nice to see this amount of people. Thank you for the clubs for helping. Thank you for the players to come. Thank you, MLTT. For the people who don't know me, my name is Carlos Zeller, and I have been president of the club since '92 for 31 long years. I consider the club one of the elite clubs in the country, and we are honored to be the first club to be able to run this kind of an event. I'm very happy that this league started, and I hope it goes stronger and stronger. It's great for table tennis. It's great for the players who already are playing, because they are going to see higher players, so they will have more to go for, and for the people who never played, because they will itch to start playing. I just want to say that it was a pleasure to work with Ed, Luke, and the whole crew. It was very easy to deal with them. They are very professional. I want also to say that in case they need us again, we don't need a year advance notice to do it. If they have any problems somewhere else, our doors will always be open for the MLTT. And before I leave, I need you to say the same thing that I'm going to say very loud 3 times. Let's go, Croc. Let's go, Croc. Let's go, Croc. Let's go, Croc.
Thank you, Carl. And back to Adam.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having us. It's been a privilege and an honor.
Well, it's certainly going to be a partisan crowd tonight here in Broward County, Florida. The top two teams throughout the season in the entire league have undoubtedly been the Carolina Gold Rush and the Florida Crocs. And today these two teams tangle for the fourth time this year, both coming off a loss last night. Carolina fell against Chicago, and Florida lost 14-7 to the surging Princeton Revolution. Princeton with their big win over Chicago earlier today. For the moment, into the second spot in the East Division. Top two make the playoffs. This is a very tantalizing race it's shaping up to be. Evan Lepler with Matt Hetherington. Welcome back to MLTT. Carolina and Florida are not accustomed to losing. How do you think these two teams will respond to what happened last night?
There's a lot of pressure on. I think they will have gone away and regrouped. They have to feel like, given the first half of the season, they still have teams that are strong enough to have put them in the position that they're in. Yesterday, maybe a little bit of a blip on the radar or on their record. They have to regroup. They have to come back, particularly the Crocs. Carolina, they have a little bit of a safety buffer in place, so a little bit of comfort from them. But the Crocs are in real danger now. If they don't have a good showing here, Princeton Revolution are going to move within pretty considerable striking distance of potentially pushing into that second position on the table by the end of this weekend.
In first singles, Enzo Angles in his familiar spot, the #1 ranked player in the league, the #1 pick in the draft, and he has won 8 of his 9 games in singles against the Florida Crocs. He's gone 5-1 in 2 matches against Daniel Gorak over the first few months of the season. You look at the second singles spot, Benjamin Brossier coming off a huge come-from-behind win in yesterday's match for the Florida Crocs against Yevgen Preshepa. Bastien Dupont also had his moments in Carolina's match yesterday against Chicago. And then Kai Jong, Michelle Levinsky will both make their debuts this weekend. Both were inactive yesterday. Roman Lawrence and Mark Duran. Matt, you got a big smile on your face looking at those two guys.
I'm just looking at the lineup in general and, you know, just evaluating fantasy league things and such. I'm a little bit heavier on the second match as compared to the first, so I have some ground to make up after the first match, but these lineups to me look really great. I mean, every match, all 3 of the matches so far this weekend have been gripping, just down to the last point. Really, really edge of the seat, engaging matches, particularly the last one. But this is a big one. The Florida Crocs need to make a strong impression. They're on home ground. They have home support. They're coming off the back of a loss, a difficult loss last night, and they're now up against the top team in the division. So there's so much kind of going around with this match. It's going to be so interesting to see how things go. But to start out with this matchup between Enzo and Daniel Gorak, I kind of manifested it. I did what I did with the Gorak de Santalan. I posted another video and said, actually this afternoon, maybe we'll see this matchup again. So here we are.
Well, the Princeton Revolution, now dating back to the Chicago weekend in November, have won 7 of their last 8 team matches. So they have surged from last place. And for the moment, they are in second place. They're Carolina Gold Rush fans tonight. They are rooting for Florida to struggle to get points. We begin with Angles and Gorak. Enjoy.
Say it would take a pretty crazy result from the Gold Rush to keep the Florida Crocs in 3rd position by the end of the night, but they are the only team to have done it so far. They've won 20-1 before.
That was against Portland in early December in Rock Hill, a 20-1
blowout.
Destruction on Friday night, December 1st.
Big battle here between the number 1 and 2 draft picks of Season 1 of Major League Table Tennis.
Great start for Enzo, picking up where he left off when these two guys faced in November. Now, the 3 games were pretty close in November, but Enzo won all 3 against Daniel Gorak, 11-6, 11-8, and then 11-10. 5-0 for Angles.
Gorak didn't look particularly sharp yesterday in his match with Tasantalan. I was a little surprised. I think I really would have expected him to lift the bar here on his home turf. But he's been struggling. And Enzo, by contrast, I think the first time ever in a post-match interview that I've seen him really happy with his performance. Usually he wins and he comes off and goes, not that happy with how I played.
Yeah, I noticed that too yesterday. New year, new attitude.
Maybe a new pair of shoes. I know his luggage hadn't arrived yesterday, so wonder if it got here yesterday evening. So in control, in the driver's seat here in the first game.
He took 2 out of 3 from Damian Provost yesterday. Lost the first game, but then won games 2 and 3, both by the same score, 11-7. And then Enzo helped Carolina pick up 3 more points in the doubles, paired with his consistent partner Hong Lin.
Throwing some big forehands. He actually, just a few weeks ago, 3 to 4 weeks ago, dislocated his shoulder. So he was nursing some shoulder discomfort yesterday. See how that goes for him today. Seems to be okay so far. Gorak needs to make a start here in the match. A tough beginning here in the first game.
A 9-3 lead for Enzo as they go to the towels. Angles has been Mr. Consistent throughout the season. He's finished above 500 in singles every single weekend. He's been above 500 in doubles every single weekend. He's won more Golden Game points than he has lost every single weekend. It's really astonishing how consistent he's been.
Yeah, I think if you consider the caliber of players that have been present in this competition, to be that consistent and to stand out that much among this field, very impressive. I think one particularly challenging match that has been avoided in the cross division was a matchup between Enzo and Cole, which would have been interesting, but Cole, of course, didn't compete in the cross division.
And Portland missed him.
They sure did.
Gorak fights off 1 game point, slew of more opportunities for Angles to close out game 1.
Gorak gaining some ground here late in the first after a pretty slow start. regardless of how this first game goes, it's certainly going to help Gorak in the second game, recovering some momentum. And a bit of a sitter there. Big chance for Enzo to close out. Gorak pops up the serve return a little. Enzo looking at the racket first, then looking at the ball. He's got 2 more chances.
How about this? Daniel Gorak, a late surge, has unexpectedly made this opening game mighty suspenseful.
That call there pretty early on.
And a service error after the let call. My goodness.
The drama from
Can you believe it?
A little bit speechless on that one. Gorak didn't even really react to it. I don't know if he processed it as it happened. Enzo will certainly... I love that little interaction. Enzo's there, the whole team are on the bench, and while they're talking about it, Enzo just reaches out and fixes Jeremy's collar.
Well, he does a lot for this team on and off the table.
Come on, son, pull yourself together, make yourself look presentable while you're on the bench. Well, that's a bit of a sigh of relief for Enzo, because that was a big comeback from Daniel Gorak, and certainly things balanced out a lot more evenly at the end of that first game than they started. Enzo Anglais capturing the first game, 11 points to 9 off the back of a fault serve from Daniel Gorak in the end.
Enzo finds a way, as he usually does. You almost have to choose Enzo for your fantasy team, and everybody almost does. I'd be curious to see the official percentage, but the unofficially, that everyone who's in the top 15 right now for this weekend has Enzo on their team.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you bring that up, because in the cross division, I didn't pick Enzo.
How'd that work out for you?
Really badly. and the main reason was, it was like, he's expensive in the fantasy league, and rightly so. And I was like, okay, can I balance a good team at the bottom end of my team if I pick Enzo at the top? And I didn't think that I could. But the guy's literally worth 2 to 3 players.
He's a machine.
Yep. Lesson learned. For anybody else wanting to join the fantasy league, you can go to fantasizer.com. Get in on the action. It's been great having small groups of competitive rivalries butting up here, especially amongst the commentary team.
Well, I was the novice and did not expect to do well, but 2 of the 3 weekends I've competed, I finished ahead of the experts, Sean O'Neill and yourself, Matt Hetherington, and I just gotta wonder, how demoralizing is that for you and Sean?
I think there's actually a term that they use for it, and it's beginner's luck.
Still got to be demoralizing, though.
No, this is the whole season. I'm in it for the season standings. You know me. I say it every week, especially the last 2. But I do have Gorak. I do have Anglais this time.
As does most everybody.
Yeah.
What would your advice to Daniel Gorak be here?
I think the players that have had success with Enzo and against the left-handed players in the league, it's about either getting into the backhand corner and squeezing them up and then getting the ball out quick to the forehand. Just looking for wide forehand corner angles. I mean, Daniel Gorak has great speed and acceleration in his shots. If he can get to the ball to the right place quickly, he should be in this. I mean, honestly, in terms of level difference, there isn't a gap between these two. Like on any given day, I feel like it could be a total 50-50. Right now, Enzo is playing really solid. Daniel's kind of struggling a little bit compared to what we would normally see from him. But in terms of skill, it's a pretty even field, but it's how you put those skills together and how you execute them. Right now, Enzo Angles is executing with pretty high level of consistency out there.
How about that? When it's going well, those types of things happen.
Just drops it on the net.
And then turns up the heat.
I think Gorak kind of almost since Chicago has struggled a bit more. In the early part of the season, he was really dominating.
Well, he dominated the West Division. He went 10-2 against the West. But you're right, after going 7-2 in singles in Daytona Beach, he's just 8-10 in the next couple of weekends.
And another missed serve to end the game. We've seen it for the second time now.
Yeah, it's jarring to see Gorak make those mistakes on game point consecutive games.
You know, I think the pressure is really a big factor here. I mean, you have a home crowd and you're on home ground. That can play two different ways. It can either lift you up or you can feel a really immense amount of pressure. And I think yesterday losing to Santalan probably was a big blow to his confidence. And it's tough being in front of a home crowd, and I think feeling the expectation of your home crowd to lift the team up. And it's, yeah, it's difficult. I think he's struggling with that part of it a lot, but yeah, as I said yesterday during the first match, I think he's one of the players that kind of took a bit of a vacation over Christmas and headed somewhere nice and sunny with a beach nearby. But certainly can do better than what we've seen in the first two games.
Game 3. A roar from the crowd. See if Gorak can use that energy.
Great to have support from Broward Table Tennis Club, not just from the venue, but the club members coming out here to support MLTT and watch this match. Just seeing too many unforced errors from Daniel Gorak. It's all in the execution of shots. Sending a lot of balls long. Gorak's got to turn things around here. Remember, we spoke at the beginning about how important this match is for the Florida Crocs and how important every point is.
You look at the whole lineup. In which matches would you have the Crocs favored, if any, against Carolina here, with the matchups we've
I don't see anywhere they're a clear favorite. And maybe Crozier could have a bit of an edge over Bastien Dupont. Nothing stands out to me as like something that they would definitely win.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I also wouldn't give Carolina like a definite edge. I think they have the upper hand in the doubles.
As they usually do.
See Anglaise trying to work his way back in slowly there, but Gorak wasn't having a bar of it. Got a great reaction from the supporters there in the corner. Getting in behind their man. And so just stopping there to make sure his racket's dry. So far, most of the pressure, most of the initiative in the offensive has come from the side of Enzo Anglaise, but he's also been the player to make the first move with the placement and where the ball goes in the rally.
Gorak's looking for answers. All French battle in second singles. Dupont versus Brossier. They played in November in Chicago. Brossier won 2 games to 1. A 6-3 lead for Enzo here in game 3 as he seeks a sweep.
Score's moving around a little bit. I think it's actually 5-5. Shift a few scorecards around there, but players both agreeing. Score is 5-5.
5-5.
Gorak looking for a bit more of a steady opening. Sometimes you have to take a little pace off and get that feel back. But it's risky in these high-level matches. And Enzo just continuously looking for aggressive opportunities in this match.
Come on, change it up, come on, fight.
Certainly a bit of a smile on the face of Gorak there.
Enzo grabbing at his groin a little bit. His thigh. I don't know if he bumped the side of the table or just felt a twinge.
Maybe. I think he did have to reach over the table a bit for that ball. Enzo picking off the counter. Tough start for the Crocs here. Evan, we've spoken a little bit on occasions about the home matches in different places around
Yeah,
the
hasn't always
country.
gone well.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested. You obviously commentate a lot of different sports. Do you typically see the home court advantage in most sports? Is this normal? Not normal, but is this common?
Well, the answer to do you typically see a home field advantage? Yes, absolutely. I mean, particularly in American college sports, college football, college basketball, it's an advantage, but this was impressive. Stone cold excellence from Enzo Angles to silence this pro-Florida crowd.
It really looked like he might have, I don't know, pulled something, or there's a bit of a strain going on in that leg after he played that last forehand. He looked quite uncomfortable there, finishing that ball off, but got the job done. 3-0. 11-9, 11-3, and 11-6.
We'll have a little interview here with Enzo.
We finally do get a smile from Enzo as he walks over to put the headset on. There's a look of concern on Enzo's face, but we'll hear from Enzo directly. First of all, congrats on the 3-0 sweep. Really well done. How are you feeling? What happened in that third game?
Yeah, I think I put too much intensity compared to how trained I am right now. So yeah, I pain in my leg, but I don't know what is exactly, but let's see.
You certainly seemed really confident in that game. First of all, did your luggage arrive? Are you back in your own shoes?
My shoes are there.
Much more comfortable moving around. Looking at the match with Gorak, I mean, he seemed like he was struggling a little bit, and kind of similar yesterday as well. What was important for you in terms of tactics to stay on the offensive, to keep yourself in control of the points?
No, the main key was to start the game focused and start the game like very focused on the first ball, and then after it's like it's normal game, so there is no strange balls or anything like that. So it's a lot of rhythm, and the rhythm I don't have it, but I have the physical. So there I was, my friend was there, I was confident, I was playing forward, and yeah, everything went well.
Obviously, you had a pretty good night last night in the first match of the weekend, but your team lost the Golden game. Did the taste of defeat impact your mindset coming into today at all?
Yeah, for sure, we don't like to lose. I think the team relaxed a little bit, so a little warning like that is good, because we are really we have so many points in front, but at the same time it can go very fast. So yesterday, yeah, we did actually a very bad Golden game. Everybody made a little mistake, me first. So it's probably my fault at first because I lose 4 points in a row, which didn't happen one time yet. Even though after I won 4 points too, it was a little bit too late, let's say. So yeah, but it's okay. It's the team, and today is another day. Let's fight again.
Way to get it started. Hope the leg's feeling okay. We'll see you in doubles.
Yeah, let's see.
Thank you, Enzo.
Thank you.
Before we get to Bastien Dupont and Benjamin Brossier, how concerned are you about Enzo saying he felt a little pain in his leg?
I feel like he's fine. I think the fact that we addressed it and he kind of seemed to brush it off indicates that it's probably not too serious. But we'll see. We'll see how things play out. It certainly looked like he felt the twinge when he was playing the forehand, so...
doubles requires a lot of movement.
Yeah, I guess we'll see the first few forehands in the doubles and see how it reacts.
In case you're wondering, there is no mechanism currently in MLTT rules, as far as I understand them, for a mid-match roster change or substitution.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if he, for some reason, didn't think he could play the doubles, they would have to forfeit those 3 points because they can't win 1-on-2.
Oh, and alongside that, the positions in the Golden game as well.
For sure.
We saw the Bay Area just absolutely scrambling after Monzo's broken finger incident on the West Coast, and fortunately for them, they managed to get MLTT staff member Tapa Day, who was on the draft list, to fill in. But yeah, if you have a player out, it's a big impact on the team.
That turned out to be one of the more memorable moments of the season with Tapa taking the table. But let's talk about Benjamin Brossier. He was down yesterday initially in his match, but he battled back to win it against Yevgen Preshepa, and he is off to a scintillating start today, scoring the first 4 points against his fellow Frenchman, Bastien Dupont. Mentioned before that Brossier took 2 out of 3 from Dupont when they met in the second singles spot in November. Dupont's only win was 11-10. So Brossier was that close to a sweep. Third time's going to be the charm here for Brossier in this serve, I think. (5-1).
I think if you look at the playing matchup between them, knowing that Brossier was able to overcome Preshepa, I feel like Dupont plays at a kind of similar rhythm and similar pace, at least in the rallies, maybe not with the serve. And of course, we saw Dupont yesterday going 1 and 2, losing out to Dan Liu from the Chicago Wind. So certainly not an easy start to the weekend for him. Brossier looking for backhand control. And those early snappy forehand counters close to the table. Both players preferring to stay closer than move back.
Big time forehand from Brossier. Lining it up and drilling the edge of the table. Hard to think this way if you're Dupont, but if you can just win one of these points and keep your team in the lead heading into the doubles, feels like you've done your job. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, because that's been in some situations the same mindset that Nikhil Kumar has had, especially when he came up against Cole. He was like, look, I won one game. That's what I was aiming for. That's like my contribution to the team, is to win a game against Cole. So yeah, every point counts.
And sometimes with the matchups, a player has to go into a match knowing that this coach kind of put him there to gain an advantage somewhere else. And that's the strategy and the tactics that make this team dynamic so fascinating. Adds context into the individual stats and rankings as well.
Brossier noted after his match with Yevgen Preshepa yesterday that he came back to the short reverse to the forehand. It was the serve that worked the best for him. Now here he is capitalizing off it against Dupont. Dupont's doing the same thing right back. Very stern looking Dupont out here trying to get back in this first game.
Wow, into the barricade goes Benjamin Brossier, running out of room on the edge of the court.
Dupont really wound up, put that ball short, close to the net and extremely wide. Crowd getting behind Benjamin. Ended up with a knee on the floor, not uncommon for this man.
Affectionately dubbed floor burn by Flint Lane. He's got some weapons though. He's not just a hustle guy, he's got talent and skill to go with the heart. Game points.
He'll take the first opportunity to win the first game, 11 points to 7. Benjamin Brossier getting the Florida Crocs on the board here.
We were talking about, you mentioned Nikhil Kumar and his mindset against Collet, and we'll see if DuPont can make some headway. It inspires me to ask you this question. Enzo Angles versus Collet. What are the factors that would decide that result in the MLTT singles format? And who would you take?
The first part of the question wasn't that difficult to answer. Second part's tough. Honestly, with two players like that, it's genuinely whoever's playing better on the day. Either one of them could come out on top. They both have the skills, they both have the technical game, they both have the experience.
What if both players are playing their best?
If they're both playing their best, Collet would come out on top purely on account of his, if you look back on his career and the levels that he's attained and the experience that he has. I mean, the guy was top 20 in the world. That's not, there's a level gap. You know, the higher up in table tennis you go, the level gaps are pretty big, and being a top 20 player in the world is an exceptional level to reach in the sport. But
or any sport.
Yeah, or any sport. I mean, right now he's kind of on his way back down. So he's not in the, he's in the twilight years of his career, I would say. Enzo, on the other hand, has been playing really well. So
Enzo late 20s, I think still maybe in his prime. Is Enzo still getting better?
He's not as prominent internationally, so he's not a mainstay in the French national team. So you don't really see him testing himself against top international players often. But I would say in terms of competing in the US, which he's done a lot more of recently, and competing in this league, yeah, he's definitely improving here. And I know he plays the French league as well. I'm not entirely sure what his results look like there, but plenty of noise from the crowd in the middle of that rally there. Finger in the air apology from Brossier. Yeah, I mean, actually, if you look overall at the achievements of the French players in this league, Brossier is the player who's attained the highest level because he's played the Olympic Games. Getting into that French lineup at a tournament like the Olympics is really exceptional.
Yeah, makes sense. Competed in Rio in 2016.
I remember the first time, and actually the last time before MLTT that I saw Brossier at the China Open in 2015. We were both playing in the tournament, and back then he was using short pips on his backhand. So he's since switched to smooth rubber on both sides a number of years ago now, I think.
How did Benjamin Brossier win that point from one knee and then the other knee, back to his feet, staying alive? Unbelievable.
I love the ooze from the crowd. The serve return was so good, and look, I mean, look at that. They almost thought he'd won it outright. Bastien DuPont doing a great job of coming back up to the table, but Brossier just ground and pound, literally.
In disbelief. Five straight for Brossier after DuPont Scored the first 2 here in game 2.
Let's go.
Brossier could be the man to put the Florida Crocs back on track here. I'm sure the Princeton Revolution will be watching this right now, wherever they are.
At this point, if Brossier is able to secure it, would officially launch the Crocs right back into second place. They were briefly removed from that playoff position.
I said wherever the Revolution are. I know they're at Olive Garden, but I'm just going to pretend they're not.
Soup and salad and breadsticks sounds good right now.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather be here?
Yeah, I'm
Front
saying
row
if they could bring, they're clearly watching and listening. If they could bring some soup and salad and breadsticks, I would be forever in their debt.
They obviously wanted to listen to us. I think that's the main factor. Brossier 7-3, leading in game 2. It's been moving all around the table.
How about that response from DuPont?
So difficult sometimes to know what's going through the mind of DuPont. His face just stays pretty
that type
pretty
of winner,
neutral.
I think, is my favorite winner in table tennis. When the guy that lost the point had just hit a shot that they probably think might have won him the point, and the ball comes back in an unreceivable way.
Yeah, I love those shots in particular. Those kind of early in the bounce snap forehand counters. Just the amount of anticipation and the timing. So hard to control.
To find the sweet spot on your paddle when the ball's coming at you that hot. Angle and direct it with pace and spin. Depth and power. And that China Open you mentioned before, you and Brossier didn't cross paths in the bracket, did you?
No, I played one match. I don't know how he went. It was a very difficult tournament. The fact that I was there in the first place was way out of my depth. I just happened to be training in China, and I was like, you know what? Why not? But even the top players in Europe didn't really.
Oh my.
Ooh. Yeah, even the top players in Europe didn't tend to go to the China Open in the end years of ITTF Pro Tour because the level of the Asian players there was just too high.
Has the gap narrowed in the last 10 years?
Yeah, I think more recently, on an individual level, I think the players that are coming up on the Chinese national team haven't necessarily been as dominant. But in terms of team results, no, China is still head and shoulders above the rest and probably will remain so for some time. I mean, a lot of the top players have said, hey, you can beat one Chinese player, but getting a team to beat 3 of them, it's extremely low odds and extremely difficult. Brossier gives the ball a bit of a redirect there down the line.
And this has been fun to watch. These two guys are really working hard, moving their feet. But ultimately, Benjamin Brossier has another handful of game points.
almost went where he wanted. You could see him being extra careful around the barriers there after the first time. DuPont trying to push him out as wide as possible. That would have broken his heart if that had hit the corner.
Brossier and DeSantillan are going to come together to petition for a larger court. Brossier has taken 2 straight for the Crocs.
Brossier just doing a fantastic job on the forehand. You can see how much curl there is when he reaches out for those wide forehand shots. I think given how things have gone in this matchup, he's got to feel confident favoring himself in the forehand-to-forehand exchanges back from the table. There's the Crocs mascot. He's got something to cheer about now.
I got a fist pound from the Crocs mascot in between the 2 team matches tonight. Was a little scared.
Did you think you were going to get eaten by the mascot?
Not eaten, but I thought he might try to take a bite or something. I don't know.
A chomp. Big reaction from the Crocs bench.
Yeah.
Every time. It's got to be nice for Brossier to feel the hometown support from the Florida guys. Be very interesting to ask him after this how he feels it compares to a home crowd in the French league. Brossier with a chance here in the 3rd game to tie up the team match.
Yeah, you know, that's on his mind. I heard Frank Arias say to one of his players yesterday, and I think it was Benjamin, he said, come on, we need it. In the match against Przeppa, when he wavered a little bit late. It's been really interesting, Matt, to watch these coaches try and figure it out. And I mean that in so many different ways, in terms of the way they manage their lineups, the way they manage their teams, the way they manage their practices. This has never been done before in this exact way, this type of season in the United States. And I think it's fair to say that you can respect all of these coaches. Alex Yang for the 1st place Gold Rush, Frank Arias for the 2nd place Crocs. Really all 8 coaches in the league have shown a tremendous amount of dedication and thought. But like the season evolves and they're constantly trying to tinker and tweak and find a way to outsmart the other. It's a fascinating kind of mental race to observe from our perch in the booth. Trying to anticipate what one coach is going to do in the Golden Game to gain an advantage. And
yeah, and I think also the fact that they're coming up against the same teams more regularly in the schedule than they would in other professional leagues is you have to be prepared to make changes. You can't put the same lineup in over and over again. So tactics coming up against the same team. You know, if you lost last time, how do you turn things around second time? DuPont certainly got his work cut out for him in this 3rd game. I think there have been occasions during this match where DuPont has really put on a great amount of pressure. He's backed Brossier off the table. He's been able to win those points on a number of occasions, pushing Brossier wide. But I think DuPont's been too focused on forehand to forehand counter topspin rallies. Brossier's been doing really well with it.
First time this weekend we've seen a ball pop up and hit the ceiling. It is a somewhat low ceiling relative to the arenas that we've played in MLTT. If the ball hits the ceiling or a light, the point is over. It is possible for a ball to sail over a light or over one of the beams that's on the ceiling and not make contact and then land on the table. Not likely, but it is possible. You see the beams and the structure overhead from our table cam.
Nice. DuPont making some progress here, adding a little bit of sharpness into his forehand contact.
You know, I watched a good amount of tennis from Australia this past week, in large part because I was curious to see how Rafa Nadal looked in his comeback. And there's something about Benjamin Brossier and just how he never gives up on a point that reminds you of Rafa, who plays every point like it's his last. Obviously different careers, different sports, but the way, you know, Brossier never lets anything go. He's just relentless. But DuPont has, I don't want to say solved the mystery here, but he has taken some positive steps. See if he can get to the finish line and earn a point for the Gold Rush, who, as we've said, have an advantage in the doubles, which is coming up next. You catch any of Rafa from Brisbane?
No, not yet.
He won 2 matches and then lost to Aussie Jack Thompson. In a thrilling match. Tweak something. Hope Rafa will be okay for the Aussie Open, which begins next weekend.
Brossier sends the ball long. DuPont finds himself in the lead.
Can I ask you a ridiculous question?
I'm surprised you asked for permission to ask it beforehand, but yeah, go ahead.
How confident are you that if you were playing table tennis against Rafa Nadal, you would win?
1,000%.
Really?
20,000%. I would bet every asset that I own that I would win.
I wish I could say let's make it
You know
happen.
what? You are right. That is a ridiculous question.
Well,
I'm glad you prephrased it.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you for that.
I remember at the ATP finals a few years back, there were some footage of, this is back when Federer was still playing, all those guys were at a table tennis table playing with one another. There's some skills that translate. Obviously, it's a very different game.
Yeah, they're good basement players. Brossier just puts the ball straight into the body of DuPont. DuPont still leading 9-7 with a big chance here to take the third game. I'm going to hone my focus in on the match and try and forget that terrible question that Evan just asked me.
It was ridiculous, but it wasn't terrible. Terrible, as Charles Barkley would say.
Oh, no.
Apologies to table tennis aficionado Frank Caliendo. Terrible. Ridiculous question. Ridiculous. Apologies, Frank. Apologies, Chuck.
DuPont, 4 game points to keep the Carolina Gold Rush in the lead. He won't get the first. Going to put your theory to the test and see if Brossier has enough fight back to come back. going to take 2 more points just to get him to a tie-breaking golden point.
What do you want to see from Bastien Dupont here on the serve?
I think short reverse has done well for him. It's more about how he follows up on the serve.
That'll do it.
Perfect way to do it. Bastien Dupont.
Big fist pump. Salvages a point. One of those rare situations where both guys will probably leave the table relatively satisfied. Dupont takes game 3, 11-8, and it's a 4-2 team tally as we head toward the doubles.
I think Brossier will be a little disappointed that he wasn't able to get that 3rd game. Started off the match really well.
Well, we're joined now by Benji Brossier, and Matt, I'm going to steal the question that you posed, and we'll ask Benji, how does the crowd and the atmosphere here for the hometown Crocs compare to a French League match back home?
I don't know if we have to compare, but the crowd is great. We are really happy to have many people to support us here, and no, it's really great to play in this atmosphere.
Kind of interested about, I know yesterday in your match with Przeszepa, you talked about serve strategy a lot and how important serve strategy was. Did you go into this match thinking a lot about serve as well? I mean, you seem to get in on the forehand really well in the first 2 games at least.
Yeah, you're right. Against this player, it's a lot about the first ball service and receive. And same as yesterday, the feelings are not so great, so you have to focus on the simple things, first service, first ball. And if you can do it well, maybe you can finish with a victory like this.
Benji, we've talked about it throughout the season, but the mental dynamic of retaking the table with a 2-0 lead in that 3rd game, you know, it matters significantly. You won the match, but you leave the table with a sour taste in your mouth after that match?
Yeah, of course. I have the feeling I lost the match. But no, at the end, it was good to take 2 points on this match.
All right. Thank you, Benji. We'll see you in the Golden Game.
Welcome.
All right. Enzo and Hong versus Gorak and Ekholm. We've seen this battle a bunch. And, I mean, it really doesn't matter who Carolina has played. They have done well in the doubles. They have won 7 of their 9 games against this doubles duo so far this season. We're going back to the injury in Enzo's singles match to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I think the first couple of occasions where he plays forehand, we're going to have to see how his left leg holds out. I think in the doubles, at least, only having to hit every 2nd ball, some of the strain will be taken off him. Hong Lin, short pips, pen holder, former member of Shandong Luneng's Shandong province team.
How about that? First 2 times these doubles pairings met, Gorak and Ekholm won a game. Last time, they got beat by a combined score of 33-16 in the 3-0 sweep.
I'm sure Carolina will be looking for that sweep again. I think the mood of their match yesterday was pretty subdued. They managed to pull through in the end, but there were definitely some moments where there was clear frustration from both players.
That caught the edge.
Gorak sends the ball long. It's been a somewhat recurring theme throughout this Florida weekend.
Sure has.
Yeah, just sending a lot of shots sailing long, particularly the less spinny ones. transition zone between the backhand and forehand.
Wow. I think the leg's feeling okay.
Certainly got some good snap on that forehand down the line. I did like where Gorak placed that ball though, I think. This time, puts the ball deep into the backhand corner. That's going to be a tougher ball on the leg of Enzo Angles. So if we see any issues, it's going to come from having to lift a heavy, quick backspin ball. Gets sent over the table. Enzo and Hong Lin, 6 and 4 so far in the first.
Get ready, do the point. Come on, come on.
Hong gets the job done. She's got so much speed in those quick, flat drive shots. Smashes with the short pips.
I hesitate to use this term weakness, but is there any weakness or small crack in this Angles-Lin doubles team that you can try to exploit?
Yeah, I think so. I think we saw particularly in the singles yesterday, really in the golden game, for the first time Hong Lin was challenged. That was by Dan Liu, and he just overpowered her. She's very solid and consistent on the attack, but when you attack first, things get a little bit more difficult. And you can see in these doubles matches, because Enzo sets things up so well for her, she's just steady. She executes really, really well. And you would expect that from a player of her caliber and background.
Despite everything she's done, Hong Lin has said that her career highlight is joining Major League Table Tennis.
It's a great promotional piece for the league, that's for sure.
Another doubles game and another doubles victory for the Carolina Gold Rush. Duo of Angles and Lin, 11-6, game number 1. It's really starting to feel routine. I mean, both for Enzo and for Hong. Enzo in singles and Enzo and Hong in doubles, they take the table and they win over and over again.
Yeah, I think everything plays in their favor. Hong is one of the strongest women's players in the league. She is one of the strongest doubles players in the league. Enzo is the strongest singles player in the league and is an incredibly effective, one of, if not the strongest men's doubles players in the league. And on top of all that, they have really good synergy. They play together really well. They communicate well. You never really see them kind of tripping over each other in footwork. They move around each other well. They seem to have a very good understanding of how each other is going to play, strengths and weaknesses, how to set each other up. There's just so much going in their favor. It's really no surprise that they have such an exceptional set of results.
Hong Lin played singles once in the first ever weekend, and since then she's just played the doubles. She's 33-7 in doubles games.
Ekholm picks up the half-long serve. She looks pretty determined after that shot. I think she feels a lot of the time she has to lift her game more. I think with Ekholm, I would almost put in the top of the league from reaction differences between not playing the shots that she wants and playing really good shots. She is a highly emotional and I would say emotionally charged player when it comes to the energy that she brings to the table.
She's talked about how Daniel's poise and calm attitude on the board complements that well, because she gets really amped up and he keeps her focused and poised, cool. Go to the towels with Florida up 4-2 here in game 2.
Taking her time with that one, looking for a gap to play into, not rushing at all. Ended up finding the perfect spot for that winner. It's been great to see a lot of spectators here with the team t-shirts, the Florida Crocs t-shirts.
Yeah, the MLTT merch has been going fast. There's still some available, but for folks that are intrigued, I encourage you to act quickly because these are hot commodities. Yeah, you're on TV. That looks tasty. After the breadsticks, soup, and salad that the Princeton folks bring us, I'll have an Oreo.
You have to bring that back up because you know they're not going to bring us anything.
You don't know that. It's a shot in the dark. How about that?
Anglaise over the table. Clip the net a little bit there. Must say he looks like things are going fine on that leg. He looks pretty nimble there. One hand over the table. Anglaise and Lin claw back to within 1 point. Gorak and Ekholm have done a good job of regrouping here in the second. And there you can see Gorak implementing a bit more speed, taking the initiative and attacking against Hong. She plays with good control, but when she's being attacked against, particularly by a quick or powerful player, things get more difficult for her. This order has gone much better for Florida Crocs duo. It's irretrievable.
Gorak hanging on the table for a long time after that one.
Bit of an exclamation there from Ekholm. She wasn't happy about that.
Alex Yang, on the other hand, had a chuckle on the Carolina bench. Right side of your screen.
Still is.
7-7.
There he is. Had more interviews with this man after matches than with any other team coach in the league. Ekholm not quite giving herself enough space on the corner with the step around forehand.
Momentum has certainly swung, and Frank Arias is going to take a timeout. 3 straight points for the Gold Rush. To go from 7-5 down to 8-7 up.
Amanda, you had an interesting question that I think many people will also have.
Step in, step close. Matilda ball very light, step in, little one step in.
That's a great question.
And give Golak short, don't give his back middle. Yeah.
Will also sometimes signal under the table. This is a way to communicate your plan without the opposing team knowing what's coming next. That could be the length of the serve, long or short, half long also.
Ojo taking a pretty active role there on the bench of the Florida Crocs. Let's see how this timeout affects the remainder of game 2.
That's 4 straight points for the Gold Rush.
Yeah, they've really been pressuring heavy backspin balls to Matilda Ekholm, trying to force those opening errors, or at least softer opening shots from her.
7-9.
And Enzo Anglais, following the advice of Coach Alex Yang, staying close, being aggressive against those softer opening shots.
That's one of the best doubles points of the day.
It's actually one of the best doubles points of the season so far, I would say.
A spectacular rally to finish.
Finishes off the second game. The Carolina Gold Rush really surging through after that timeout. Hong Lin getting the job done.
Closed that game with 6 straight points.
But nothing is more important than one game. The golden game. It is the last game, and it is worth 6 points.
Another couple bites of the banana.
Every other match, even a clean sweep,
Enzo Anglais
can get is 3 points.
has
The golden game can
continued
redeem everything.
his reign atop the power rankings, and that's certainly not going to change. Playing alongside Hong Lin, who has elevated her stature too. Been a great duo.
Yeah, I mean, she's just so technically solid. You really don't see too many unforced errors from Hong at all. If she's playing short, she's keeping the ball short and tight. If she's playing long, she has good quality.
It's not because she's not going for her shots and playing conservative either that she avoids errors, because she takes her swings.
Yeah, every shot is purpose-driven and within some intention behind it. And I think that's what makes her such a great doubles partner in these matches. You can see how far back Gorak and Ekholm are pushed from the table. Enzo and Hong continue to pressure the backhand corner of Ekholm, the left-hander. You have one lefty and one righty on both sides. It's very common in doubles to see players trying to bunch them both up in one corner. This time, Ekholm with the quick counter. Enzo sends the ball way long.
Disbelief.
think the biggest deciding factor in this match has just been Enzo and Hong's ability to hold the table. Gorak and Ekholm definitely given up more ground in a lot of the points. Ekholm driving the ball into the elbow of Hong Lin. This time Gorak off the floor.
Order will switch here as they change sides at 5-3. Gorak and Ekholm had a 7-5 lead in game 2. And they get to the finish line here. Still a long way to go.
Doesn't look happy with
Is it getting hot in here?
whatever happened there.
If you guys, it's just who else? Someone else
Bit
getting
of
hot in here?
a exchange between both teams. I'm not sure.
Were the fans maybe gesticulating or waving their arms during a point in the crowd that frustrated them? Not sure.
Not entirely sure, but Enzo didn't look too pleased, and he took the timeout quickly there to calm things down a bit. Looks like he's chirped up a little bit on the bench.
There's a big difference between 6-3 and 7-2. Heading back into the final singles matches here.
And it definitely caught some people off guard. I love a gritty match. So back from the timeout.
So 3-point lead for Gorak and Ekholm. Hong Lin with one more serve.
Enzo misses a bit of a sitter there with the forehand. Big opportunity here for the Crocs.
What a point. Gorak has the answer.
Enzo goes for the quick flip against the reverse serve of Ekholm.
Enzo seems done with this doubles match.
I think you might be right there. Hong sends the ball long. They do take 2 points. Enzo's out of there straight away.
Gorak looks like he's trying to apologize about something. Enzo didn't look like he was all that eager to hear about it. So it's 6-3.
Oh, Enzo came back to have a chat with Gorak. Looks like they're resolved whatever went down in the end there.
We're going to have a mid-game chat with the coach of the Carolina Gold Rush, Alex Yang. And your doubles team takes 2 out of 3, but looked like something happened there in game 3. What can can you tell us about the conversations between Enzo and Dan and the issues that they seem to be having there?
I believe it was the net, and Matilda say some trolley very loud, and Enzo feel maybe very loose, something like that. I think so.
Fair enough. It looks like Enzo's leg is okay.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
How do you feel about so far the performance? I mean, you're obviously coming off the back of a tough match yesterday. Right now, in terms of the order and looking at the matches moving forward, do you feel confident that the team can pull this together and get through and get the job done?
Yeah, I'm confident, but I think we'll see the golden game again.
What is the feeling, Alex, when you have really controlled the match like you did yesterday against Chicago? You had a 9-6 lead, but then you lose the golden game. How do you balance the feeling of you won more games than you lost over the course of the day, but you lost the match because the golden game matters so greatly?
The golden game can happen everything. So our player, I think after long break, everybody feel it's not really into the game yesterday. They still feel like still in the vacation, And Enzo also, he lost his luggage. He wear the different shoes. It's border for professional players.
Right. Real quick before we let you go, what's the key for Kai Zhang here against Michelle?
2-1 for Kai.
Okay, calling it 2-1. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, he doesn't need a sweep. He just needs 2 out of 3. That wouldn't be bad. What do you think the key is for the Zen-like Kai Zhang as he takes the table against Michelle Levinsky?
Serve return is a huge factor in this match. Michelle Levinsky is left-handed player with a lot of reverse pendulum serve variations. He, in the World Team Championships, gave a player who is considered by the majority of table tennis players the greatest table tennis player of all time, at least the modern era of table tennis. A lot of trouble with his serves, was able to win 1 game. That was against Ma Long. So yeah, Kai Zhang's focus has to be on serve return. If he cannot put pressure on against the serve of Michelle Levinsky, it's going to be a tough match.
Do you look at Michelle as the favorite? Or is this a toss-up, or is Kai the favorite?
I think Kai is probably a small favorite here. Michelle is a player who's kind of swayed in and out of the sport over the years, in kind of waves, I guess. He's kind of gone away from the game and come back to it, and he's had some great results and some strong performances, but tends to kind of duck away and for small periods of time. So it's hard to know how much he's practicing or how well prepared he is for situations like this in particular.
Michelle from Israel originally. Now 28 years old, moved to the US. He was 20.
So far, Zhang Kai handling the serve receive pretty well.
There's that serve that wreaks havoc sometimes.
Yeah, it's just the number of different variations he has. And again, like I said, there's so many players in this league using the long, fast reverse. He controls it pretty well.
This last slow-mo replay angle just shows it's a big swing from Zhang. He thought he had it. And once again, comes up nothing but air on the swing.
Yeah, he does have a lot of power on both wings, forehand and backhand. And of course, got to connect with the ball first and foremost. Again, the reverse pendulum serve sets up the attack. Levinsky gets the ball down the line. Kai was left in the middle of the table trying to figure out which way it was going to go.
Kai wants a new ball. He'll get one from Terez Terranova, Paralympic medalist 3 times.
Gold medalist twice.
Umpire today. World wheelchair champion in the mid-80s. You ever play against her?
No. That lovely woman, though, I just caught up with her yesterday. I hadn't seen her for quite a while. She's one of the sweetest personalities you could come across in the sport, and still said she's coaching sometimes 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So she is really in love with the game for life.
Only 12 hours?
Zhang Kai over swinging on the counter.
Driving the return into the net.
Pretty bold for a serve return from Zhang Kai. Really trying to drive through the contact.
For better or worse, that's his style.
And Levinsky got away with a bit of a loose redrop there, but perfectly anticipated the next ball. So 8-7 here in the first game.
Let's see what this means to Levinsky. Trying to take game 1 for his team and for himself.
And for Coach Yang. He's got to get at least one.
Go.
Lovely backspin serve there from Kai Zhang. Both of these players sat in yesterday's matches, so it's their first appearance here this evening. Good switch up with the spin variation on the reverse. Straight in the net from Kai Zhang. A nod from Levinsky back to the bench. It's got 3 game points here.
First 2 of them on Zhang's serve. Kai fights off 1. Just to get out of my way, backhand there to take that point and set us up for 10-10 golden point.
This is actually an interesting stat, and Sean O'Neill's given me a helping hand here, but according to him, their USATT head-to-head in tournaments is 22 matches to 1 in favor of Kai Zhang.
And Kai Zhang comes from behind and continues that trend, taking game one, 11-10. He was flummoxed by several of Michelle's serves throughout the match, but not this one.
Like I said in the beginning, it all comes down to serve return. I think there were definitely times during that match where Kai played a little bit soft in the beginning and then tried to go for broke on a ball that maybe might not have made sense for him to go for the big shot on.
You like to watch when it's really competitive? What is it that you're thinking while you're watching?
Kai Zhang has been one of the leading competitors in the sport. Growing up on the East Coast, he went to school in New York after moving here from China. He's won the Westchester tournament, one of the bigger tournaments in the US. I think more times than any other table tennis player. It was his home club. He's really a star performer. He's out on the West Coast now, but great to see him competing at the highest levels in the US still after all these years. He'll start game two with the serve. As the Carolina Gold Rush look to push ahead here. Now 7-3. Zhang sends that one over the end. He's really putting a lot of pressure on himself to hit the ball at full blast. Is it really necessary?
I think it's the only speed he knows.
Somewhat. I mean, he could taper it back even 10-15%. I think it would be enough. So he's putting unnecessary pressure on himself by missing shots that should be simple executions for him. Now makes these small points in between even more costly.
And then he reminds you that he's got the reflexes and those quick twitch swings to beat great players. Kai Zhang once said that table tennis is a brain game. It's a puzzle. You have to figure out a strategy and watch your opponent's strategy.
Yeah, I think one of the common phrases that's been used to describe table tennis is athletic chess. Levinsky pushing onwards here in the second game. Kai taking some big risks on the attack and on the counters. And the serve return not looking as sweet this game for Zhang Kai. Levinsky slowly moving away.
Kai Zhang needs just one more point in these next two games to sew up the lead heading into the golden game for the Gold Rush. Still one more singles match to come. And it's a pretty enticing matchup between Romain Lorenz and Marc Duran.
Playing the contortionist on that forehand from around the corner. It's looking pretty good here in the second game. Zhang Kai, I think, overplaying his hands a little in some of these points. Clip the edge with that one.
Be patient, you know what it is.
This is far from over, Matt.
Serve receive. Serve receive. How
these next 2 points are going to decide this game. Good, strong, firm fist pump from Michelle Lewinsky. Knows the significance of snagging momentum back.
Goes for the big shot. Zhang Kai still in with a show here.
Get ready. Take your time.
Oh! Kai Zhang unleashing the backhand after the net ball hung up there.
Great measure of that timing.
And a timeout called here, Coach.
Great reactions in the crowd after that shot. Timeout taken by Frank Arias. Michelle only up by 1.
Yeah, and Kai has the serve.
He's been a wonderful coach for Florida Crocs. This is an interesting time. The reason you might have heard the crowd react to that shot, Michelle Lewinsky's ball came off the top
and then and your serve, when you serve short to his forehead, that works better. When you serve under speed short to his, but not in the middle, right to his forehead. So he'll just come in like this, and he's giving you the full table for you.
Yeah, but with the backhand he likes, he's gonna play bomba.
Great, but
there was only
I will play to his backhand.
Yeah, but a lot of spin, and he'll put it on the barrier. Come on,
if it were 11-4 or 12-3 coming into the golden game would still be played. And that golden game is worth 6 points.
Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on.
Certainly interesting to hear the perspectives from the Florida bench. Appreciate Frank Arias and all the coaches this weekend wearing the microphones to allow us to eavesdrop on their chats. Tense moments here. 9-8. Lewinsky leads. Zhang serves. 9-all.
Once again, find ourselves in a situation where for Zhang Kai, serve receive is the most important thing on his mind right now. Kind of feels like it's been that way for both players, actually, especially towards the end of the second game.
Lewinsky points to the bench. Frank Arias is like, I told you. Serve short to his forehand. You'll get the whole table. That's what he said. Can he win it on his serve, or will it go back the other way? We got another golden point between these two fierce competitors.
Zhang Kai's hook serve has worked really well for him in the last couple of points. It's going to be interesting to see what he brings out here in this golden point. Having the serve for either of these players certainly been a big advantage.
How about that?
Levinsky drops it in the net.
Levinsky shifted his position at the table right as the serve was coming.
Yeah, he was preparing the backhand flick. I think he realized that the serve was heavier than he thought. Came across. Yeah, it looked like it was traveling too wide. He didn't want to risk moving all the way across to use the backhand flick. You cannot, at this level of table tennis, have really any hesitation. At that point, he probably had to just fully commit and go for it, get across, get the backhand flick in. Tough position for him. It cost him the point. 11-10, 11-10. Zhang Kai taking 2 here.
Alex Yang has gotten what he's wanted.
So far, could be 3-0.
Very well could.
But it's been
you know who's excited about this? The Princeton Revolution.
That might give them the wind beneath their wings to help them come back. This is the 3rd game of the 3rd singles match, and we know that Michelle Levinsky is
It's tough for Levinsky, in one sense, to have lost 2 games by just 1 point. But at the same time, he's got to feel like it's a 50-50 game. He could have been totally the other way around. Levinsky could have been 2-0 in the lead here as well.
This 3rd game is so much about mental strength. Can Kai Zhang remain focused? And can Michelle Levinsky let go of the mistakes that plagued him? The service error, he's lost both points on his serve to start game 3. That's not a good sign for Levinsky. Long way to go though.
Big start for Zhang Kai. He's won 2 points against the serve. Has a chance to win 2 off his. He won't though. Levinsky keeps the ball nice and tight. Well read.
Michelle has only won 2 of the last 6 points on his serve. 2 of 7. And if he's not winning points on his serve, it's going to be tough for him to win the game.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this, sometimes having a really strong serve game can make things more difficult in the sense if you come up against someone who does receive it well, it's challenging to capitalize in the points. I think Kai's received it well enough. Put the pressure on, and he's out on the range.
That's his superpower.
Players switch ends. Kai Zhang 5-2 in the lead.
I don't know about you. I mean, the end of 2 intense matches, but Lorenz and Duran could have some real excitement to it.
And some serious implications to the outcome of this team match as well.
And the entire season, perhaps, with Florida and Princeton as close as they have been all season long in the race for the 2 spot. Frustration is building, understandably so, for Levinsky.
Yeah, Kai's just read the serve receive well. He's been able to keep the ball short.
certainly looks like Alex Yang is going to get more than he asked for. Carolina had a 9-6 lead heading into the Golden Game yesterday, lost that Golden Game to Chicago. So they lost the match 12-9. They're going to have, it looks like, at least a 3-point lead going into the Golden Game. If Roman can get even 1 point, the maximum 5-point lead heading into the Golden. But Roman with a great opportunity to clinch the victory regardless of the Golden result. Wow.
Just a junky point there from both players. It's almost like watching Roger Kang out there.
11-4, game.
Nowitzki frustrated with the ball toss on that last point. The frustration boiling over. And Kai Jong sweeps it, winning 2 Golden points and then rolling 11-4. And you're just going to slip in that shot at the Princeton owner, but I understood he gave you a run for your money earlier this morning on the table.
Anyone can give me a run for my money right now. It's all right.
Not anyone.
Not Nadal. Not Rafael Nadal. Levinsky still looking frustrated over there on the bench. I think, like, you can't get to the very end of a match and, you know, have that frustration just given.
Kai is ready to chat. Kai, you won 1 game convincingly. The other 2 came down to a single point. How pleased are you to escape with a 3-0 sweep?
Yeah, I'm very happy for the win, and thanks to my team, always encouraging me, not giving up, when I was down first game, second game. So I was really happy that, I was, didn't get so frustrated and keep going and win the match.
You've played Michelle a lot of times. Your head-to-head is really, really good in matches from all the tournaments that you've played on the East Coast. Looking back on those, obviously that experience helps you a lot. How important is the serve receive against a player like Michelle?
I think because, we play so many times, so I know like what his, what service is doing. But sometimes I don't know why from the beginning of the match, I always, got some trouble from the first game, second game. Even the same serve, over time, like we play 15 times maybe. So it's always he's changing, he's always changing like top spin, under spin. I feel like every time I whip for half long, it's short. Every time I come short, it's half long. So yeah, he has a very, very good serve. So.
Kai, a question I'm not sure I've asked a player this year. What is it like last night when you're inactive? You're playing Saturday, Sunday, but on Friday you're just a spectator trying to be supportive. What is that like for you on the bench?
When I'm on the bench, I just like support for my teammates, and also because like I'm a little bit like injured over here, so that's why I want to take 1 extra day yesterday to take a break, and I think today I feel much better. I took a Advil before the match, and the result is pretty good for team, so I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
Appreciate the insight. Go get some brief rest. We'll let you get to the Golden Game in a bit.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Kai.
So Alrighty, Duran and Lorentz coming up.
I was just the point that I was getting to before we got into this interview was it did seem like Michelle was really frustrated at the end on the last serve. But if you think that there's an issue with the serves of your opponent and it's built to the point where you're that annoyed, you've got to get in and call it when it's happening. I think there's sometimes a little point, apart from venting that frustration of having lost the match.
It doesn't do any good to complain about it afterwards.
Right, in terms of solving it if there is a potential problem. Interestingly, started the match here and Duran's already backed way off the table.
That aspect of Duran's style, I think, is what makes this a popcorn match. His ability to just get the ball back to the other side no matter what.
So much clear space there. Look at the angle work.
Now the 2 times that these 2 players met previously, in October, Duran swept Lawrence 3 games to 0. 11-8, 11-7, 11-3. Their rematch in November, Lawrence took 2 out of 3. There were 2 lopsided games, 11-5 and 11-4. Each went one way. And then Lawrence won the golden point in game 3. And in that team match, Carolina outscored Florida 12-3 before the Golden game. Went on to win the Golden game. They won the match 18-3. It's their worst loss the Crocs have experienced. And they're not doing a whole lot better today, quite frankly.
Yeah, one of Duran's biggest strengths in this matchup is his ability to play with a lot of speed. He plays quick over the table, and that'll help him a lot in trying to lock into Roman's backhand. It's funny watching Duran, he's either really close up to the table or really far back at the barriers. Not really that much middle ground for him. Able to claw back that net. Roman ties things up.
How unorthodox would you say is Duran's style?
Very. Yeah, I think up at the table, not as much. But once he backs off, extremely unorthodox.
Why does it work for him?
I think it works for him partially because nobody really knows what's coming. It's hard to expect a 2-handed backhand. And also because he just happens to execute really well. The chops back from the table and the 2-handed backhands and the lobbing, he's really good at it. He has a good feel for it. But yeah, it's very unpredictable. Roman played pretty well yesterday, I felt, in his match. Did a great job of finding his forehand game.
He lost game 1 against Kazaku, but took games 2 and 3.
Duran taking a big risk there. You can see his just never wants to stay in that middle distance back from the table. He either steps back and gives up the space or storms in and tries to power through the ball.
Now, the other interesting dynamic for these 2 players is that they're both basically pretty clearly the number 2 guy on their team. Lawrence behind Enzo and Duran behind Gorak. And oftentimes being the number 2 guy on the team means you're playing the number 1 guy on the other team. You know, they're never playing number 3 or number 4. So their season records are impacted by the guy that they're always playing one of the top 2 from the other team as the number 2 guy on their team.
Duran getting pumped up. Does tend to get pretty vocal when he starts getting warmed up in a match. Straight over the table into the elbow. doing a really good job of pressuring Rahman.
Strong performance here to close out game one. See if he can finish it.
Rahman, when he gets on the forehand, pretty good balance of pressure and consistency. Case in point.
Well, he fights off 2 game points on his serve. Now he's got to deal with Duran's serve. So he's back up against the wall here in the opening game. How about that? Lawrence battling back. And the pressure only increases here for Mark Duran.
And he gets him with the forehand, closes out game one. 11 points to 9 for Mark Duran, keeping the Crocs alive. Rahman would have to win both of the next 2 games to close out the Crocs from having any chance of coming back. Mark Duran, if he keeps playing this well, could potentially bring the Crocs back to trail by 6 points to 9. That would close the gap in the Golden game to only 3 points for the Carolina Gold Rush.
That would be huge in so many ways. What'd you like about how he weathered the storm there down the stretch to get it done?
Honestly, I think your comments about Brossier being like Nadal, I think you missed the mark. I mean, you've got a Spaniard here who has enough grit for the whole team. I feel like Duran probably reminds me of Nadal a little more. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he digs deep. He really digs deep. And I think he feels that he's really doing it for the team. So many-time Spanish national champion in singles and doubles. Opportunity there for Duran. But we're pretty clear of the net. Just twisted through the wrist a little bit too much. We used to use the expression when we were learning table tennis as kids, more wrist, more risk. When you're playing at high pace, got to stabilize the wrist action. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of shot that I'm talking about. You just can't expect something like that. It's kind of a smooth rubber push block up at the table. Has got to get in with the first forehand and then stay in control of the points. Has to control the table and get Duran backed off. To imagine felt pretty good about that setup.
Was this return just a little too deep from Lawrence on that serve?
Too shallow, actually. Too shallow, too high. He's trying to drop the ball short, but if the ball pops up when you're trying to play short, the other player has plenty of time and they can also press more body weight into the ball. Oman keeping things drawn up here at 5.
So at this time of the match, too, you start to think about the order for the golden game and whether there are any reasonable risks that Frank Arias can take. He said before that he is comfortable with Ekholm playing against a male player.
I think it's got to weigh on your mind, I guess, as each match goes by. I think the first thing that you assess when it comes to the golden game after a singles match ends is, will my player be able to hold up in this combination in the golden game? Or do I have to change something? I mean, the interesting thing is, Gorak really didn't hold his own very well against Enzo.
Yeah.
But then, would Arias replace Gorak with somebody else? I don't know. Probably in terms of skill set, you still need to put Gorak in that matchup for the golden game.
Probably your only other option, if you want to not sacrifice the points, is Duran. Duran played Enzo once in singles back in September, lost 3 games to none.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it. I think you need Duran to step up in other areas of the golden game. At the end of the day, you have to pick an order where you hope that your player brings their best to the table for a smaller number of points than a whole game. I do think we'll see a pretty similar order in the golden game matchup. If it's the same, I wouldn't be surprised. Duran ties things up again, 8 points each. Romain Laurence has been hanging steady in this match, getting around on the backhand corner and using the forehand well.
2 big serves here. It's a quirky point.
Good hands from Laurence.
This game's not over, but I just have a sense that these guys are going to be 1 game apiece heading into the 3rd game of this singles match.
Duran takes a big risk trying to punch the ball down the line. I'm sure it would have paid off if it had landed, but it doesn't.
Enzo Angues barking across the umpire's table to his teammate and countryman Romain Laurence, seemingly trying to suggest a strategy for this upcoming serve.
Crocs crowd are getting rowdy, trying to get Duran back into this. Duran claws back 1. He's got to win the next 2 in a row as well if he wants to win this game.
Wow. Through 2 games, Matt, these 2 players are dead even. 20 points apiece, 1 game apiece. Carolina will have a 5-point lead at the start of the golden game, and this final singles game before the Golden will decide whether Florida has a chance to make a crazy comeback and win the match.
This serve return from Duran was really exceptional. Raman did a superb job of getting to that ball, trying to get as much rotation on it as he could. And Duran was kind of crowding the table on his backhand.
Major League Table Tennis 2024 schedule will be heading out to the Pacific Northwest 3 weeks from now to the hometown of one Sean Mordecai O'Neill. I don't think that's his middle name.
I'm going to be completely honest. On middle name makeups and nicknames, you're doing horribly this evening.
It's hard to disagree.
It's Mordecai and the Destroyer. They sound good together.
I think you should give me a little more credit for the Destroyer, but we can agree to disagree. Lawrenceville, New Jersey in March. That'll be the final East Division weekend before championship, which will be announced soon. Expecting more points like that.
It's just so wild. In a position where you would expect Duran to try and attack, he goes for a big backhand chop, and then backs further off the table. That two-handed backhand was pretty incredible.
You don't see that a whole lot.
Barely at all in table tennis. Unless, of course, you're watching Major League, because Duran does it. I would say he almost gets one in every match.
Have you tried it?
No. No. There's no way I would try that in a match. There are, I've only seen 2 players doing it in table tennis. I've seen Calderano hit a two-handed backhand, and I've hit Mark Duran, and then one table tennis player and coach in the US, Corey Ida. But he was a tennis player, so before. Very uncommon. But also super entertaining. I love it when Duran does two-handed backhands. Romain Lawrence, if he wins this game, Carolinas have it. Regardless of how the Golden Game goes, they'll still come out on top in points. Duran is fighting to keep the Crocs alive.
Three as they go to the towels here in game 3. Big roar from Duran. Been a tough night for the Crocs. Started with Gorak losing 3-0 to Enzo. Rossier did battle back to take 2 out of 3 from DuPont. But then Carolina winning 2 out of 3 in doubles, and Kai Jong winning 3 straight over Levinsky. Timeout Carolina.
Carolina Gold Rush using the final timeout of the individual matches. They'll get one back in the Golden Game, as will the Florida Crocs.
He does it so well. Back to the action. It is a 1-point lead. Mark Duran with the score 4-3.
Quick hands from Duran, and he'll hold the lead as they switch ends.
Golden Game is the grand finale. All 5 players compete 1 point at a time, substituting every 4 points. Carolina will have a 5-0 lead at the outset, regardless of the result of this game. We have seen 5-point leads overcome in the Golden Game twice so far. Portland did it against Seattle in September. Carolina did it against Princeton in October. Has not happened since.
Roman draws things up again.
Put your fantasy preferences aside for a moment. Who do you think's going to prevail here?
I genuinely don't know. It's been so back and forth. I mean, I feel like every time Duran's pulled ahead, even a little bit, Laurence has caught up. And I think it's easy to see Duran as maybe having a better chance because he's more visible in this match. But Roman's been like the quiet achiever. He's very much in it, but maybe you don't notice as much. So I think it's going to be point for point right down to the end. It's kind of a battle of risky play versus steadiness. If Duran's risky shots pay off, he'll win. I feel like if Duran's risky shots don't pay off, he'll lose. So yeah, I think a lot of it is on Duran. I think Laurence is going to be steady. And Duran's either going to hit or miss his bigger risks.
A lot of good roars in this league after winning a point. Duran's is up there. Oh my goodness. A side, a net, and a winner from Mark Duran.
I couldn't believe that Roman got that back. Duran just absolutely pounced on that shot. Superb return. Clips the net on the way back. Duran's just right on top of it. There's another shot he was on top of. Doesn't make contact. It just grazed the edge of the racket. Big chance there. Big chance. Roman, consistent as ever. Costly serve return error at this stage of the game from the Frenchman. Duran fighting for the Crocs survival.
Unbelievable counter when it looked like Duran's return was good enough to win the point.
Yeah, that was a winner of a serve receive, but again, Laurence just, he's there.
These guys are putting on a show, and Mark Duran is on the brink of taking 2 out of 3.
There's just so much wrong with that point, but it's so right for Duran. Like, who forehand chops up at the table? He's like one of the only players that would do it.
Duran has 3 chances to win this game. The first 2 would be on his serve. And he only needs 1. Duran pumped up. What a battle. And it's 10-5 heading into the Golden Game, which means the Crocs are still alive on this Saturday night.
I mean, a tough loss for Rahman. Definitely had a chance there in both the first and the third games. Honestly, I think in the face of the variations that were thrown at him from Marc Duran, he handled that pretty well.
Well, Carolina still will have a 5-0 lead, but a little momentum perhaps for Florida. See if Frank Arias sends Duran back to the table for the first 3 points of this Golden Game. He's hot, he's warm, he's feeling good. He's interested to see whether Yang counters with Rahman or maybe flips it and puts Enzo in there. We'll see. Enzo was dominant against Gorak, so maybe he wants him in the 2 spot. But if the game does get to 2020, well, when it's 5-0, it'd be the players in the 5-hole that would decide the ultimate golden point, so it would not come back around to the top of the order a 3rd time. Brossier was impressive and exciting. Ekholm and Gorak able to salvage the final game of the doubles match, but it was Angles and Lin doing most of the work. The 3rd singles match was riveting in all sorts of strange ways, Matt.
It was a clutch for the Carolinas. Kai Zhang pulling through 11-10, 2 Golden Games won. And then this final match was just all of the best you would expect from both of these players. Duran getting over the line.
All righty, here's the commish. Flint Lane.
Are up 10-5. They'll be starting with a 5-point lead. Florida Crocs will pick the first player to play 3 points.
I will be Daniel Gorak.
Daniel Gorak is your 1. Coach, who's your number 1?
Enzo.
Enzo Angles is your 1, and your 2?
Romain.
Romain Lorenz is your 2.
Marc Duran.
Marc Duran is your 2, your 3?
Benjamin Brossier.
Benjamin Brossier is your 3.
Dupont.
Bastien Dupont is your 3, your 4?
Kai.
Kai Zhang is your 4. Coach?
Matilda Ekholm.
Matilda Ekholm is your 4, making Michelle Levinsky your 5, making Hong Lin your 5. Good luck, coaches.
A little curveball at the end there, and Frank choosing to let Gorak take the table first for the opening 3 points, as opposed to keeping Duran out there. What do you make of the decision here?
Definitely a curveball at the end there.
You can see the thoughts churning in his mind.
Ekholm up against Kai Zhang. Levinsky against Hong Lin. I think.
I saw that dog earlier tonight. I know the folks in our truck are dog friendly, so I knew we'd get a shot of it before the night was over, and I was right.
Yeah, I'm interested as to how this is going to play out, especially the last 2 rounds.
Can Gorak give Florida a little momentum? That'll help. He'll take it.
I think this is a similar twist that we saw in the Revolution and Chicago Wind orders in their Golden Game as well. Have to wonder if Frank Arias took a leaf out of Eric Owens' book from yesterday and decided to shift the strategy against Hong. Hong's been an anchor for the Carolinas in the Golden Game.
Enzo able to take 2 of the 3. And the Carolina lead has grown to 6. How you feel about 4 more points of Lorenz versus Duran?
No complaints from me.
To keep him backhand, please.
How about that? Short shot, clip the top of the net. Half-hearted apology. You win that point. Roman.
Surprised Duran got to the first ball. I feel like he might have got to the second if it hadn't hit the net.
If Florida was going to win this game, they needed Gorak and Duran to get off to a good start. That has not happened. They began with a 5-0 lead, and then 4 of the first 5 points in the Golden to Carolina.
Roman mishits. Big opportunity for Roman Laurence.
So Lorenz takes 3 out of 4 after Enzo takes 2 out of 3.
Carolina's so far riding the wave in this Golden game. 10-2 in the lead. It is Brossier against DuPont.
Wow.
Just misses. That would have been exceptional if he'd landed that down the line backhand. You could see him committing to get that shot down the line. Big risk. Would have been high reward, but DuPont, he gets Brossier back off the table.
Some massive swings there from DuPont.
Again, going for that pressure with that punchy backhand shot. Doesn't land it. DuPont getting ahead here. Carolina Gold Rush leading the charge in the Golden game. Bit of a risky forehand counter loop there. The ball dropping almost below table height. It's really tough to get the trajectories right on a ball like that. And this time, Brossier throws his weight into it. The backhand punch lands. Crocs still trailing by 8.
They were down 10. Brossier salvages the split of the 4-point sequence. And now we got Ekholm against Zhang. What's the key here for Matilda?
She's got to go for it. Really has to go for it. Anything that goes long, got to attack. Heavy rotation. She does. A little bit late on the follow-up. First ball in was good. Anything that she can do to keep Kai on a more passive blocking. Reverse pendulum's good. Interesting to maybe see how her left-handed reverse pendulum, which is also really good.
Sometimes you can overcook a forehand, and sometimes you can burn a forehand. How about this? She's got at least a split. Can she make it 3 out of 4?
Kai's really getting lulled into a slower game here.
3 out of 4 for Matilda Ekholm. Breathing life into the hometown Florida Crocs.
Turned out to be a great choice, at least in the first round here by Frank Arias. The slower pace of Matilda Ekholm really causing trouble for Kai Zhang, and he is pumped, and so is Michelle Levinsky on the bench.
Levinsky versus Lin.
And the serve of Levinsky is going to factor in big time here. Can he bring the Crocs back into this golden game?
Able to win 1 point on Levinsky's serve, so Lin gets the serve now. Still a 6-point lead for Carolina.
Hong Lin's one of the few female players in the league that can potentially compete with any of the men.
I'll say. Doesn't get caught up in the emotions. Hong ever steady. Michelle needs this one for a split. And that's 3 out of 4 for Hong Lin.
Big fist pump from Hong Lin. We don't see her too often showing emotion. She's pretty happy with that.
Well, after what happened yesterday in particular, you know, Dan Liu getting the job done against Hong. Now we're back to the top of the order. Final 4 points for Enzo and Daniel. Oh, Gorak had it on his paddle, and Enzo breathes a sigh of relief.
Very surprised to see Gorak struggling so much with shots like those.
Oh! Are you kidding me? Gorak lunging forward to keep the play alive, and then somehow pulls that out of his hat.
Enzo, great pickup on the half long ball. 18-9, Carolina Gold Rush doubling the score of the Crocs out here. And within sight of the finish line.
Gorak earns the split, but he really needed more than that. For Florida to have any chance, Mark Duran basically needs to take all 4 here from Roman Lorenz, which is a very tall task.
Yeah, Florida seemed to have been out there fighting for splits too much, and you start behind, it's not enough. Duran with the snappy counter forehand. It's the Crocs over the double-digit line.
If not for the 5-point head start, this would be a really tight golden game. How about that from Duran? Blocking it back to the open space. Wins both points on his serve. Rossier and DuPont are up next, and you feel like Florida probably has the edge.
Here comes
Carolina, yep, Carolina gonna hit the pause button on this golden game.
Come on.
Worth mentioning, if Carolina closes this out, the difference between 2nd and 3rd place in the East Division heading into Sunday will be 4 points.
That'll actually favor, I think, the Chicago Wind more, because going into Sunday, the Revolution have to play against Carolina.
I understand why you say that, but you also need to be careful in those types of presumptions, because we've learned to expect the unexpected at times. We shall see. Duran does earn the 4-point golden sweep. Florida, after trailing by as many as 10 in this golden game, are within striking distance as Brossier returns to the table. There has never been a double-digit comeback win in a golden game in MLTT history. Is that about to change? Big point for Bastien Dupont. Frustration on the face of Benjamin Brossier. Two straight for Dupont takes Carolina to match point.
Played much better against Brossier here in the golden game than he did in the singles.
Must score for Brossier, otherwise Carolina will celebrate another win. The Gold Rush, get it done when it counts yet again. 21-14 is the final. And the Gold Rush extend their stranglehold atop the East Division. And the race for the 2 spot gets that much more interesting as we shift our minds toward Sunday's final games of the weekend here in Broward County, Florida.
Really outstanding performance from Dupont. As I said, a big change up from the singles to the golden game.
Move on to the semifinal playoff round. So we look forward to having you back tomorrow.
Carolina bounces back from their Friday loss. Those were the owners of the Carolina Gold Rush over there. They had not seen Carolina win in person until just now. So they can get that monkey off their back. The owners are not the bad luck charm that they didn't want to be. Alex Yang joins us once again from a 10-point lead in the golden game. Florida crept within 4, but then Bastien Dupont came to the table and finished the job. What are your thoughts on how that all transpired, Alex?
The Florida team is very fight. Everybody fight. And Dupont did a very good job in the golden game, and also started the third game in a single. He did figure out how to play with the what's his name?
Yeah, Brossier.
Yeah, Brossier.
What's going through your mind during the order as Frank mixes it up and puts Matilda against Kai, and that sets up Hong against Michelle?
It was a little surprise. Kai lost 3 points. I thought Kai gonna win and have a big leading, so even Hong lose some points is fine because we still have Enzo after.
I mean, in terms of some of the matches, they were pretty close. I mean, Roman's match in particular with Marc Duran was a pretty close one. If you look at your team's performance overall today as compared to yesterday, what do you think the main improvement has been?
Today they play more like thinking more, you know, and also that team, they thinking it's very strong. They should play very fighting. But yesterday I think we're not fighting enough.
And do you, as a coach, how do you kind of approach it? I mean, you haven't had too many losses in this league, so what was your approach to it after last night? What were some of the things that you did?
We had a meeting, and also the owner invited us for dinner and try to put our team together and try to lock the first place again and make more distance.
Yeah, it's the secret to success, team dinners.
Yes.
They help.
Yes.
They truly do help. What's on your mind as you shift the mindset thinking about tomorrow?
Try our best. So try to earn more points So last 2 rounds, we may have some new fresh player to play.
Well, Princeton has not lost yet this weekend. We'll see if...
yeah, they're very strong, but I believe our player too.
I am looking forward to that match already. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Alex. Thank you
very much.
All smiles on the Carolina sidelines as the Gold Rush prevail again. We're going to chat with Bastien Dupont, who really battled against Benjamin Brossier over the course of their singles match, and then also during the Golden Game, ultimately scoring the points that closed it out. Bastien joins us now. What's going through your mind as you retake the table? Florida had the momentum. They were back within 4. A lot of pressure on your shoulders. You get the job done. How'd you do it?
Yeah, just, you know, in the Golden Game, you just have to be confident and go to play the point as the best way as possible. It's just, I start good with the first point. The first point was really important. And after winning this one, it gave me less pressure and I could play better.
And when you played against Benjamin in the singles, you came out and you played much better in the third game than you had in the first 2. So you were able to win the third game. What did you learn in the third game of your singles match that you think helped you come back out here and play much better against him also in the Golden Game?
I know that he will use a lot this reverse service short to my forehand. I know, and I could not only push, and I must flick this one. That's why I learned. That's what I learned from my single to the Golden Game, to flick this one to be able to be better in the rally.
Bastien, do you enjoy those long points where you guys both end up real deep away from the table and you're just battling for your life out there?
Sure, I enjoy. It's good for everybody.
If you win them, right?
yeah, for everybody. It's good for players. But, you know, it's like for the crowd, it's very good. For the players, for everybody, it's good. So it's really enjoying to play this kind of point. But the reality is the first 3 balls in the rally, like service, receive.
It's fun to watch. Congratulations on getting the win for your team. We will see you tomorrow, Bastien. Thank you. Bastien Dupont and the Carolina Gold Rush win again. They are 12-3 in Golden Games. Benzo Angles takes the table first tomorrow. He'll likely give Carolina their 100th singles game victory of the season. But the Revolution are not going to be an easy team to beat. They have won 7 of their last 8 team matches dating back to November. So, you know, we've talked all season long, Matt, about how Florida and Carolina are the 2 heavyweights. That story is starting to shift a little bit.
Yeah, I'm honestly have been very surprised this weekend in particular. Again, we've talked about 2 of the team's leading players, Koyo Kanemitsu and Jinshen Wang, not able to be here. Nishant Labaka is in from the draft pool, has performed really well for the team.
Sure has.
And Alex Chen's here, DeSantalan's here. The team, without those 2 leading guys, has been able to win both of its matches yesterday and today. That in itself is an exceptional feat. And looking where they are now on the table, they've got to be thrilled with how things have played out over the last couple of days.
Well, lots of storylines heading into Sunday. We'll see if Princeton can finish the weekend 3-0. We'll see if the Crocs can avoid a winless weekend on their home turf. We'll see if either Matt or Sean can pass my fantasy table tennis expertise. That is the least likely of all the scenarios if you look at the results so far. But we shall see. It's not over yet. I'm not going to count the chickens.
I'm pretty confident after tonight's matches. So we'll see how things have ended up. I haven't looked yet.
We'll continue that conversation over dinner and a beverage, perhaps.
You mean over the soup and breadsticks that Princeton hopefully bought us?
They're probably ready for us right outside the door right now. Thanks for being with us today. Fun day of table tennis. And we're back with you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. local time. Carolina and Princeton is that first matchup, the first place team against the hottest team in the league. And then it'll be the hometown Florida Crocs trying to avoid a winless weekend. And look, Chicago still very much in the mix for that last playoff spot as well. And tomorrow's going to be an important game in that regard. So thanks for joining us tonight. Carolina wins it 21-14. For Matt Hetherington and our entire goofy crew, Evan Lepler saying good night.
I'm trying.
Wait.